Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So this evening we are doing something that is kind of a little sad, but is definitely necessary. So let me turn you around so you can get a look at this yellow pear tomato that we need to pull out of the garden. Okay, so get close up here. As you can see, it is basically topping itself. Now we do have some yellow pears that are setting on it and are trying to turn, but the problem is that before they're fully ripened, they're just kind of falling off. And in general, this plant just seems to be sick for some reason. Now, at first I thought it might be a blight, and it still could be some sort of blight or disease that is specific to this plant, because it is right next to another yellow pear that does not seem to have the same problem. So that is odd for a blight. Usually blight is kind of windborne, and it blows through and it will wipe out all of your plants. I did a video on that when that happened. Oh gosh, that was probably about 5-6 years ago now that happened. We just had blight and it took everything. But all of the surrounding plants are healthy. So I'm thinking it is just this plant alone. So in order to make sure that we don't have anything spread from this plant to our other plants, we're just going to play it safe and pull this bad boy out. And what we'll do is we'll just cut it into segments so that we're not like whacking each other in the face with the plant itself, and get it out of here. More than likely what will happen is the yellow pear that's right next to it, so this guy right here, as you can see, is perfectly healthy. So it'll just give him a little bit more breathing space and ability to expand in the bed, which yellow pear are very, very vigorous tomatoes. So it's more than likely that it will take over this space without any problem. And in all honesty, one yellow pear is probably all that anybody needs as far as this tomato goes, because it is a large producer. So let me go on ahead and put you on hyperlapse so you can see how we're going to remove this guy and get it cleared out so that we can make space for what is healthy and what is thriving, and just overall increase the health of the rest of the bed, because like I said, we don't want this guy to affect the other plants in the bed, especially when you're in a small space. If you're in a small space garden, a sick plant is bad news. So you got to yank them, as brutal as that is. And I did give this guy time, but he's just not coming back. So we're going to do the hard thing. We're going to take him out and save the rest of the plants in this bed. Here we go. Okay guys, so Mom got in here and pulled it out while I was trellising up the other tomatoes. It's a little crazy in there, not gonna lie. We ended up finding this, should be a white currant tomato, probably volunteer from last year. I don't know how it's gonna do, honestly. It's a little scraggly, and it could just be that it had the other tomato laying on top of it, that sick yellow pear. But I went on ahead and I added some biotone around the roots, and I'll get that watered in. But if it doesn't perk up and if it continues to kind of look a little pickish, I'll probably just go ahead and pull it as well and just allow the tomatillos and the yellow pear to do what they're doing currently. Because I'd rather do that than have sick plants in the bed and have to deal with amending soil. That's a lot of work, I'm not gonna lie. So maybe this fall what we'll do is we'll work on amending this bed anyway a little bit heavier, just to make sure that whatever was going on with that other yellow pear tomato that we just pulled is not something that's in the soil. I would be suspicious if the other items in here were sick, but I would just rather play it safer than sorry, if that makes any sense. So yeah. Now in other crazy news, this is a zinnia, believe it or not, and it's a fasciated blossom. So I did not catch that this blossom had more than one blossom merged together. So that's what happens when you've got some weird fasciation going on. And then this yellow pear over here, down here, has already started to root itself into the ground. Now, I have talked about this on videos. I've gotten a lot of tomato hate, particularly from master gardeners, because I allow my tomatoes to do this. I plant my tomatoes deeper so that they have a deeper root system. Now, let me preface this by saying that I do understand that those roots are a secondary root system. There's, you know, really big fancy names and terms, but we're not here for that. But they're still roots. Hate to break it to you, and all I can tell you is that I had another yellow pear tomato die at the main stalk, and it had rooted itself at another location, and I pulled out the original root stalk, and the plant that had rooted itself was still very healthy and green and producing fruit. So I took out the dead part and left the healthy part, and I still got a bunch of yellow pear tomatoes off of it. Call me crazy, even if it is a secondary root system and it's not optimal, it doesn't matter to me, because the plant told me it was okay. It was, you know, still producing. It was still very vibrant green. It wasn't a sickly green. It was producing a ton of fruit for us. And to my frame of mind, just because something isn't necessarily optimal doesn't necessarily mean that I should pull it out of my garden, especially if it seems to be thriving where it's rooted. Maybe that's just me being overly sensitive as a grower, but I'm not egotistical enough to look at my plant and just say, oh, gee, you're not optimal, so I'm gonna pull you. If that makes me a bad gardener, then I never want to be a good one. Just saying. All right, so that is all that we have for you this evening. We are going to go on ahead and get that bed watered in real quickly before we head in, and hopefully before we get eaten by bugs. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And don't forget to comment down below if you have any questions or comments. And I will see you on the next video. As always, keep it simple, natural, and essential.